As you probably know, the websites that we access, they are hosted on web servers. And these web servers, they run different operating systems. It can either be a Windows Server operating system or Linux-based operating system. But essentially, these are just servers, and they are making those websites available to clients, to end users like you and me. So in this video, we'll see how to hack a Linux-based server by using one of the Try Hack Me rooms, and that's actually Kenobi room. And we'll see how to attack that web server by exploiting vulnerable services, and how we're going to log into the server and become the root of that server. This is going to be a very interesting tutorial, because if you're just getting started into hacking or cybersecurity offensive, with Try Hack Me, that's actually a very good and safe way to learn those skills and practice. Okay, to perform this attack, I'll be using my own computer, and I already set up a VPN, and we should be able to reach the endpoint, in this case the victim machine. So it's 10.10.191.117, and I'm successful. So the first thing, I'll start by creating a directory just to save any findings related to this attack. So I'll name it Kenobi. Now let's get inside this directory. Okay, so the first thing should be to make sure that connected to the network and deploy the machine. So this is done, and start machine with nmap and how many ports are open. So if we click on hint, it shows us the command we can use. So I'm just going to copy and paste that and replace what it says IP with IP, in this case 191.17, and it's completed. Okay, how many ports are open? If we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 7 ports. Let's type the answer there. Okay, so task 1 is completed. So let's move on to task 2. So now it talks about this service Samba. So essentially this service or protocol is what allows what allows computers running Windows and Linux to share files. Okay, so that's essentially what it's used for, and we're going to use nmap to enumerate for SMB shares. So I'm going to copy the command here and paste on the terminal and let it run. And we have some information here about why we're using this command. So essentially we are using a script, that's the nmaps, I believe, security engine scripts, and we are targeted on this port. So SMB has 2 ports, has 139 and 445. So 131 is kind of the legacy port for the oldest versions of Windows, as 445 is the most recent one. So let's see. Oh, it is already completed. So let's see how many shares we have. So we have IPC, TC IPC server. Okay, 1 user, path. We have anonymous, and we have print. Okay, so there are 3 shares. How many shares have been found? So let's type 3. Okay, so we can continue on most distributions. SMB client is already installed. So this client allow us to log into this shared folder. So I'm just going to copy this and see if we can access one of these shares. So asking for the password, I'll just leave as blank, and looks like we are inside this share. Okay, use the machine, connect the machine. Okay, and once you're connected, list the files on the share. What is the file you can see? So if we run ls and we see one file, log.txt. I'm just going to copy these and paste because I'm a bit lazy. Okay, that's the one. So that's the file. So we can also download the contents on that share too. So submit the username, password is nothing. So we're going to copy this and back to our terminal. So I'm going to exit, paste. Okay, leave it as blank. Okay, it was downloaded, so we can confirm that we have log.txt file. Okay, now open the file, and there are interesting things. So we have information for Kenobi when generating an SSH key for the user, and we have information about proftpd server. So let's open this file. Actually, let's just use v and log. So we have information about the SSH. So we know that when we enable SSH, two keys are created. We have the public key and the private key, and we can see where it was stored on this server at homey Kenobi. So this is a hidden directory, ID RSA, so that's the private. Okay, so that's identification. This is the public key. Okay, so we know where those keys are stored. Now what else do we have? So now this is related to proftpd. Okay, so it is running on port 21. Okay, it's not using IPv6. And we have the user Kenobi, group Kenobi. Okay, so we have some information there, user FTP, group FTP. Okay, so let's just quit this and see what is the next question. What port is FTP running on? And we saw that it is 21. Okay, so we can move forward. So earlier Nmap port scan have shown port 111 running as the service at serves RPC bind. So let's confirm that, and we can see here the service 111. Okay, so this is what is this service used for. So converts RPC remote procedure call into universal addresses. So when the service is started, tells RPC which is listening and is prepared to serve. So let's use Nmap to enumerate. So we're going to enumerate this service, see which information we can find. Again, copy and paste. Let's see what can we find. Okay, so we have this var directory, and we see the contents of this directory. Okay, so let's see the question. What mount can we see? And here it says var. So is it the right one? Okay, it is. So we were able to complete test 2. So we know that there are shares available that being shared, and there is this service running proftp. Okay, let's continue. Now moving forward. So proftp is a free and open source FTP server. So FTP is used to transfer files from one machine to another, compatible with Unix and Windows system. Okay, and it's also vulnerable in past software versions. So vulnerable here, it's a key word. So let's get the version of proftp using netcat to connect to the machine on FTP ports. We know the FTP port is port 21, and if we click on hints, we see how we can get this information. So NC machine IP port 21. So in this case NC, and the machine IP is 101.17 port 21. Okay, so this might be the version for this service 135. Okay, let's see what is the version 135. Okay, that's right. Now we can use search exploit to find exploits for a particular software version. So search exploit is basically a command line tool for exploitdb. Now exploitdb, it is a website where we find different exploits that exploit vulnerabilities. It's like if you know that a system is vulnerable to something and you know the version, in this case we know the version, we know the software, it is very likely that exploitdb already has this information because someone might already create an exploit specifically to exploit this vulnerability. So let's just navigate to this website to show you what it looks like. So that's the exploit database. So essentially we're saying like what we have here, we should also find using the search exploit or search exploit. Okay, how many exploits are there for proftp running? If we click on hint, so this is how we should find the exploits for this software version. I'm just going to copy this part, paste into terminal, cancel this, and the version is 135. Okay, and looks like there are a couple of exploits already for this specific version. We can see some are Python, this one is txt, this one is rb, I don't know what is this extension, but there are exploits. So how many? 4. Okay, that's right. So, and I should have found an exploit from proftp as the mod copy module. Yes, that's the mod copy. Okay, so the mod copy module implements site cpfr. So this means copy from and site copy to commands, which can be used to copy files or directories from one place to another. Okay. We know that FTP service is running as the Kenobi user from the file we just saw on the share, and an SSH key is generated for that user. Yeah, that's right. So we are going to copy that user private key using these commands, site copy from and site copy to commands. Okay, so first thing first, let's log into the server. So 10.10.101.17.21. So we are inside the server. So let me just shrink this a little bit. And the command is site copy from. So what we want to copy? Home, the user Kenobi. This is a hidden directory, SSH. And we want to copy the key. Okay, directory exists, and we want to copy to site copy to var temp, and we want to keep the same name. Okay, copy was successful. Okay, I'm just going to cancel this. So we copy this file from this directory to var tmp directory. Okay, so next we knew that var directory was a mount we could see on the previous task. So we now move, actually we didn't move, we copy the private key to var temp directory. Okay, this is done. Next we're going to mount the var temp directory to our machine. Okay, so first we're going to create this folder, Kenobi NFS, then we're going to mount var directory into this folder, then we're going to see the contents for this directory. So let's do one step at a time. So first we're going to create. Okay, for some reason my terminal session just crashed, so we have to do it again. So we'll have to create this directory so we can mount the share on the remote server. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste. Okay, created the directory. So now we're going to mount var directory into this directory we just created. Okay, and it's done. So let's see the content now of this mounted directory. So let me copy this. Okay, that's what we want. So we know that the SSH key is inside TMP or temporary directory, so we want to copy that, and we see the same output here. So now we're going to copy the SSH file into the current directory. So I'm going to copy from, so I'm just going to type this to copy into the current directory, and we have the ID RSA file from the var directory, temp directory we just created. Okay, so now we have a mount, and with deploy we can go to var and copy Kenob's account SSH file. So we're done. Okay, so now we're going to use the this file, the SSH file, to log in into the server without knowing the password. Okay, because we just need the private key for that. So first we have to change the permission for this file. So chain mode 600 ID RSA. So now let's log in using this file as the user Kenobi at 10.10.191.17. Okay, so oops, yes. Okay, and we are inside the server. Okay, that's great. So what is Kenobi user flag? At home Kenobi use txt. So that's where we are. So if we look the content of this file, you can copy this and paste. Okay, and we found the first flag, and we are also inside the server. Okay, so we were able to log into the server. So now let's see if we can become the root on the server. So there is some explanation about file permissions here. Essentially how the SUID for user group are used. So SUID bits means that user can execute the file with the permission of the file owner, but you can read this on your own. So essentially we want to take advantage of a flow on how a file was created. So SUID bits can be dangerous because some binaries, such as this binary, they are executed with elevated privilege, means as root. And if this isn't done correctly, can become an attacker can take advantage of it. So let's find for files that has the SUID bit or group ID bit enabled. So we're going to copy this command, okay, and run on the server. So we already found some files, and let's see what file looks particularly out of the ordinary. So I already know what the file is, so I'm just not going to waste time. So it should be this one, user menu, and paste, done. Okay, so now let's run the binary and see how many options appear. I already have these, so we have 3 options: status check, kernel version, if config. Okay, so we have 3. Okay, that's great. So now a little explanation there. String is a command on Linux that looks for human readable strings in a binary. So essentially what they're saying is, if let me type 1, so this output I can get it if I run the same command. So I localhost, you can see the same output, and option 2 should be uname -r and if config. So essentially this script, the binary, the menu binary, it is doing the same thing. So, and what's the problem is So it says that the binary is running without a full path. So that's the problem, and we're going to take advantage of this. So as this file runs as the root privilege, we can manipulate, okay, to gain a root shell. So how do we do that? So if we follow here the instructions, we should get into temp directory, and here we have the explanation. So we're going to copy the bean shell into a file called car. We're going to give the permission, so we change to 777, means that we can any user can read and write this file, and then we put its location in a path. And so whenever we run one of the options, user bean menu run, so it will look for actually the option our path in this case. So let's see, do this in practice. So we go to temp directory, and we're going to create a file. We'll name it bean shell. You'll save it inside the car file. So now let's change the permission 777 for this file. And now we're going to set the path to be, okay, so let me bring it aside. So path should be temp, and that's dollar and path. Okay, that should do it. So now if we run again, bean menu, can we select one of the options? So now we are, oh, not all the, okay, what have I done? Okay, we should be roots. So probably it's trying to do something on the server, or just crash the server. Okay, no, that's okay. So we can see we are the roots, and we can, okay, so we can complete this one and find the flag for this is at root.txt. So let's get it. So going to roots and root.txt. Okay, and that should be the final flag for this ROM. And that's it, guys. We were able to attack a Linux web server. We were able to log into the server and become root and owning the server. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope to see you in the next one.